John, you can kick it off. I think people can hear.
Great.
Technical issues sort of over.
Okay, good. I don't think I can advance the slides at the moment, Mitesh. So either if you can give me access, or I'll ask you to nudge them on. But I'll kick off anyway. So thank you very much for that, Mitesh, and thank you everybody for joining and spending a part of your Wednesday evening here listening to us. So as Mitesh said, my name's John. I'm part of the management team that are responsible for the early professional programs at IBM. And obviously I will talk about those various programs and schemes over the course of the next hour. And again, as Mitesh said, we've got Grace and Shristi here, who are both early professionals within the business, and they'll be talking to you about their experience so far a little bit later as well. So if you go on to the next slide, please.
Yeah, I'll do that for you, John, but I think there might be a button that says take control that allow, does it, can you see take control or not?
I've just got that now. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Mitesh. So what are we going to cover over the next sort of 45 to 50 minutes or so? So I'm going to talk about why IBM. So why do we think that IBM should be your next career step? We're going to talk about what you can do at IBM. And as I said, that will include actually hearing from a couple of our early professionals, a couple of our degree apprentices, Grace and Shristi. Going to talk about what are some of the opportunities available to you in terms of the different schemes and how you can actually apply. And then at the end, we'll have some time for some questions as well. Okay, so possibility. What do we mean by possibility? So here we really talk about the limitless ways for you to do meaningful work at IBM. So what we mean here is work that actually really matters, work that really makes an impact, and work that has a purpose. This is not only to our clients, but also providing services to communities and other organizations around the world. An example here, I think, so I manage a number of apprentices in the business and early professionals. And our early professionals are actively working on what I would call critical infrastructure projects. So that is things in healthcare, things in energy and utilities. And these are projects which are really keeping the country and the world running. So there's real possibility and purpose in the work that our early professionals are doing. As I say, we're not just focused on serving our clients, but also serving our communities. And we're really very focused on doing good in the world and actually providing a service there. IBM is so big. There are so many possibilities for impact. I often make the analogy that it's a bit like being a kid in a sweet shop. If you're a kid that likes sweets, I guess that is, because there's so much to actually have a go, really have a taste of within IBM. Okay, so talk about the possibility in terms of doing meaningful work. Talk about curiosity. So you will get to hear from Grace and Shristi a little bit later on. But whilst as IBMers, we all bring something different to IBM, one thing that really brings us together is our sense of deep curiosity. So we're extremely keen and focused on growing our skills and actually helping others to grow as well. That's part of everything that we do. We're all very excited about continuous learning. We're very excited about sharing our expertise. And we're very keen to create a culture of both giving and actually receiving feedback, because we know it's so important to reflect on what we're doing well and learn based on the feedback that we receive. And these are really norms in our culture. It's not something that's we tend to kind of work on. This is kind of part of the culture of working at IBM. Having said that, I talked about sharing expertise there. I can't emphasize enough, we don't expect you to be an expert when you start something new. There's no expectation there at all. What we do expect you to have or to be is excited about the journey, to be excited about learning and really growing to do your best work possible. So having that curiosity to really develop, but not necessarily, we don't expect you to come in having all of the skills and the behaviors and the knowledge to do that. That's our job to help you get there. So on that theme around kind of learning and developing, we've got a theme here around always be learning. And one thing I would say about IBM is that there's not a shortage of opportunity to actually take part in education and actually grow your skills. So if you love to learn, you belong at IBM. I would almost say that you could pretty much spend every day of the week for a year doing learning at IBM. There's so much of it. We don't want you to do that because there's obviously a lot of work to do, but there is a mass of learning that is available to you freely, and you're actively encouraged to actually participate in that learning. So here we've got a few examples of some of the offerings that we have in terms of the learning. So we've got our main learning platform at IBM is called Your Learning. That's really a one-stop shop for all of your learning needs. There's hundreds of thousands of courses, and these are courses on kind of technical skills, methodologies, and also those kind of softer transferable skills as well, all at our fingertips. We have Your Career at IBM. So this really helps manage your career growth and how you really grow your career and have a career, and how you can use it to fuel your career in IBM. We have a platform called Your Guides. So this is something that we're very focused on as well, which is really connecting experienced IBMers with perhaps less experienced IBMers. So with mentors and coaches who are really ready and there to help in anybody at any stage of their career, really, to kind of help them, help you reach your goals. We've got, again, hundreds, thousands of digital badges. So these are open badges, which are quite sought after within industry. So these are ways for IBMers to acquire both strategic skills that IBM needs to deliver for clients, and some skills and some of the methodologies that we use actively with our clients as well. And we're very proud of attaining those badges and sharing those with our networks as well. And then the last thing on that slide is Skills Build, which you may or may not have heard of, but this provides students and educators access to digital learning. So that's learning in AI, cloud, cybersecurity, the key kind of technologies that we use in IBM. And actually what's good here is that students can actually start completing some of the badges as part of Skills Build before you even apply to IBM. So it allows you to have something on your CV just in terms of those employability skills. Actually, whether you work for IBM or not, it's a really good program to kind of be involved in. So Skills Build is definitely something to go and have a look at as an action after this presentation. Inclusivity, diversity and inclusion, incredibly important at IBM, and something that we again have a real focus on. So we really value the different perspectives and experiences that each and every one of us bring into the workplace. IBM itself as an organization has a very long and proud history of promoting diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And actually they've got history of actually doing this before other corporations did so. And sometimes even before some of these policies became a legal requirement. So an example here, again, something that we're very proud of. So going way back here to 1953, so 70 years ago, 70 years ago, the IBM president at the time, Thomas J. Watson, established a policy of hiring without regard to race, color, or creed. And IBM were the first US corporation to issue such a mandate. That's 70 years ago. Not 10, 20 years ago, 70 years ago, that was actually a policy. And clearly in the years that have followed, that mandate has been expanded to include things such as religion, sex, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, national origin, genetics, disability, and age as well. So again, it's something that we're very proud of as IBMers, that IBM has really led the way in terms of diversity and inclusion. Here on this slide, we've got some examples of some of our initiatives and communities that promote diversity and inclusion. And again, something that we're incredibly focused on is allyship. So actually being an ally for diversity and inclusion. So actually last year, I had the pleasure of picking up the Digital Employer of the Award at the Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards. And again, in about 2 or 3 weeks, we're finalists in those awards again. So looking forward to going there and hopefully getting some recognition in terms of what IBM are doing in terms of diversity and inclusion. Lots of business resource groups, lots of initiatives, lots of campaigns around equality that we're very focused on to really grow diversity and inclusion, because it's a huge focus for us in IBM. Okay, so a bit of background in terms of IBM, what we're doing, but obviously hopefully you're interested in kind of what are the opportunities that IBM offer in the early professional space. So I'm going to talk about each of these in a little bit more detail over the coming slides. We've pretty much got something for everyone, I would say, depending on where you are in your academia or what you're thinking about doing next. So we offer a gap year. So that's a one year program. So again, with kind of, you know, in any gap year, it's a year to try something out. So I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. If you think, actually, I don't need a gap year, I'm ready, I know that I want to go into the workplace, then we've got a whole host of apprenticeships that we offer as well. And again, I'll come on to that in a bit more detail. And actually, you might be thinking, I actually do want to go to university. I know I want to do that, but I'm perhaps considering my employment options post-university. So actually, during university, a lot of degrees actually offer an industry, a year in industry. So we have quite a large university placement scheme as an intern, and obviously we do have a graduate scheme as well. So there's pretty much options and avenues, whatever route you might be thinking about taking. So let me talk about these in a bit more detail. And I'll start with the gap year. So this is called the Futures, IBM Futures Scheme. So the Futures is our name for the gap year. Okay, so there's roles across the business, whether it be business roles, technical roles, or design roles. And within each of those, there's a kind of whole breadth of opportunities and different roles you can be doing. So whilst it says business and technical, business, you know, there are hundreds of things you could be doing in a business role and hundreds of different things you could be doing in a technical role, really, depending on what the demand is from the business. What you need there is, what we ask for is 5 GCSEs, grade 4 to 9, 2 of those being English and maths. So it needs the English and maths. And 2 years in further education, so A-levels or an equivalent to that. And again, I can't emphasize enough, we don't require any work experience. So this is the whole point of the scheme. This is the whole point of you coming in to do a gap year and really experiencing the professional environment. We are here to actually help you learn and help you grow. So there is no expectation on you having any preset technical knowledge or business knowledge or design, whatever it might be. We want you to come in, again, as long as you're curious, willing to learn and fit into the culture. That's kind of all we ask for across all of these schemes, actually. So let me come on to the apprenticeship scheme. So these are generally three to 4 schemes, 4 years if it's a degree apprenticeship. These are all full-time roles. And very important, I will say, is permanent role. So the reason I say why that's important is because some organisations offer apprenticeships, and actually when you complete your apprenticeship, there's then perhaps a bit of a question around, can I actually get a job in that organisation? In IBM, you are hired as a full-time employee from day one. Okay, so there's no question at the end of your apprenticeship about trying to apply for roles or whether you'll get taken on. You are taken on from day one, the day you start your apprenticeship. Okay, starting salary of 21,000. I'll come on to talk about the different kind of apprenticeships that are available over the next few slides. You'll see that at the top a couple of banners there. We're very proud in terms of some of the recognition we've received. IBM is actually an employer provider of a couple of apprenticeship standards, which includes being audited. Very proud to say that we received outstanding from Ofsted from a couple of our programs that we deliver internally. So let me talk about those in a bit more detail. So apprenticeships, again, huge range of things that we actually offer when it comes to apprenticeships. Apprenticeships from level 4 to level 6, from business to technical and design as well. Okay, so in terms of business, if you're looking to come in and get some business skills in an apprenticeship, we've got the junior management consultant at level 4. For that, the expectations is again the 5 GCSEs, grade 4 to 9 or C and above, and that's English and maths are required to begin an apprenticeship. The junior management consultant, a very broad business apprenticeship, so pretty much any role that you can come in, and if you're learning skills around you know, business environment, project management, management consultancy, and then some of those softer skills such as team working, adaptability, relationship building, things like that, a really good opportunity. I'm slightly biased because I don't actually lead that particular program, but it is a really good one, as they all are. If you're a little bit more technical focused, then we've got a few options there. So as you can see, again, at level 4, we've got junior DevOps engineer, we've got test engineer, and we've got the software developer. And again, same entry requirement in terms of GCSEs for those. And again, I would emphasize, you don't need any technical knowledge or experience coming into these roles. That's the point of doing an apprenticeship, that you will learn and be given the tools to actually grow and develop in these areas. Okay, so don't think, I don't know anything about testing or software development, so therefore I can't do that. Absolutely, if it's something you're interested in doing, I would absolutely encourage you to look at that. And then we've got a range of degree apprenticeships. So we've got digital and technology solutions degree apprenticeship at level 6. These are all level 6, so that is slightly more of a technical based apprenticeship. We've got a chartered business management degree, so that's slightly more alongside the business side of things, I would say. And then we've got a specific kind of design degree. So obviously with the design degree, the expectation is that you'll go into some form of design role in IBM post that. Whereas I think the others, I think your options are pretty much still quite wide in terms of what career path you might take in completing those. Some entry requirements for those degree apprenticeships are that we ask for 120 UCAS points, which are either obtained or predicted. That's for the degree apprenticeships only, not for the level 4s. Okay. So let me just talk about those in a little bit more detail again. So level 6, digital technology, chartered business management, design. These comprise a mix of academic study and workplace learning, and typically assessed with a range of assignments, exams, and presentations. So it's not just examination assessment. It should really suit a range of learning styles. Important to note here that the universities that we offer these degree apprenticeships at are chosen by IBM, and we have a select few universities that we actually work with, that we have partnerships with, that we have very good relationships with. So it's not a case of you necessarily saying, I want to do digital technology and solutions degree apprenticeship at this uni. We actually have some unis that we work with very, very closely. Great news here, IBM will pay for the university course in full. So there's no funding required from you. IBM will absolutely pay for that. So again, this is where I wish I was 16, 17, 18 again, because I think that's an absolutely amazing opportunity to not only grow your skills, but obviously you are earning money and having your degree apprenticeship paid for at the same time. So I think that's absolutely amazing. And you apply, so you do not apply, if you're doing a degree apprenticeship, you don't apply through UCAS. So IBM do all of that kind of as part of the application process. You apply to IBM, you apply for a role in IBM, and then IBM work on that whole kind of university application process. So it takes that whole kind of process away as well, which I think is a good thing, that you don't have to worry about any separate kind of applications or things like that as well. Why IBM? So I've covered quite a lot of this already. Clearly, we have quite a large community of early professionals. So, we're seeing, make friends for life. So typically when you join with a cohort, you tend to kind of, create a network of friends from that. We've got about 10,000 employees in the UK. So there's always lots of things going on across the locations. We've got so many great communities that you can get involved in and social groups. So whether it be LGBT+, Girls Who Code, Embrace is actually the name of our diversity and inclusion community, people with diverse abilities, lots of different things, a sports community, things like that. So lots of things here. Professional and personal development, as we've kind of covered, are really at the forefront of our mind. So I think this is quite unique to IBM, is that we have a team of managers that are purely focused on your development. So I am one of those, and I have a number of colleagues that also play that role, which is really, we're there to help you with your development and your growth, career, training. So that is our focus. Plus, you'd also have a manager that is supporting you in terms of your role and the day-to-day requirements within your role. So what I hear from the industry is that actually having that extra level of support in terms of an early professional manager is really important and really useful. It's not just a day job, so we're encouraged and absolutely have to spend time, both on learning, but also a lot of encouragement in terms of giving back to the community. So To be honest, today, Grace and Shristi, this is kind of give back for them. So they've obviously had a busy day, I'm sure, doing their work, but they want to be ambassadors and want to share their experience and really promote IBM and apprenticeships to school leavers, because they've been in your shoes, you know, not so long ago, and probably had a myriad of options. So for Grace and Shristi, this is, you know, an example of give back, but it's not just this sort of thing. You could be you know, going back to your school and talking about it. You could be getting involved in other community work and really, you know, being an ambassador to IBM and apprenticeships. You'll receive all of the technology, laptop, mobile usually. We've got discounts that are available as well. So, you know, lots of benefits in terms of working for IBM. And again, the question I get quite often is, or some concern about people, from people, is actually slightly worried about missing out on the uni life, let's say. But actually, there is a lot of you know, social events happening at IBM. You'll have a base location, wherever that might be, so you've got those people. So I do feel, and obviously Grace and Shristi could expand on this, but I do feel that you benefit from not only, you know, from the university kind of academia side and applying that on your role, but also there is the social aspect to that as well. So there's still lots of fun to be had, I think, whilst working and learning. So I think enough of me talking about that. Let's actually hear from Shristi and Grace themselves. So I'm going to hand over to Shristi to share her experience so far and the process she's been through. Shristi, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm Shristi, and I'm a digital and technology degree apprentice, and I joined this year in July, and I will tell you the journey of how I got there. So originally, I finished my A-levels last summer in June, August, about that time, and I had started with 4 A-levels, but it was just getting too much to me, and I also was doing the EPK at the same time. And everyone at my school was constantly like, oh yeah, you need to do more A-levels, you need to get the top grades, you need to all get A stars and everything. So I felt really pressured to like do 4 A-levels and EPQ and really get the top grades. And so, but then I ended up dropping one of my subjects, and I carried with 3 A-levels and 1 EPQ. And we had teacher assessed grades as well that time. So in the end, I didn't get what I wanted to get. So I actually got A, B, and I got A, D, E. So after, and I did apply to unis as well. Sorry, the slide is, and I did apply to unis as well. So at that time, when I did achieve my grades, I still got into uni, but I was like, I don't want to go to uni because everyone around me at that time was like uni's everything. And also the fact I went to a grammar school, so people were more focused on uni, that I felt like I didn't know much about this. So instead, I decided to take a gap year, and I did my research, and I did research for 2 of my subjects, and then I found out about degree apprenticeships. One of my friends, she was telling me about her degree apprenticeship and her journey. So after I talked to her about it, I went on Google and I searched it and everything. And then I came across the whole scheme, and that's when it was about this year in February when I actually started applying to degree apprenticeships. So for my IBM application, I remember it originally started, the whole application was started on the 2nd of February, and the same day I think they had to stop the application because they received too many of them. So the initial application was just a quick form, and like I think it was just quick form about what you study and everything. And after that, a few weeks later, they got back to me saying, oh, you've been invited to assessment center. So I went to the assessment center. It was quite fun. So it was group activities, and like we all worked as a team. We did this activity, and then we also got to do individual meetings with the person. So that was quite interesting as well. And then literally about 3-4 days later, they got back to me saying, oh, you've passed the assessment center. And one thing I really liked about IBM was that they always were on top of the recruitment process. So they always kept me updated, and they literally would get back to me in a few days. Whereas I found out that other places that I applied to, they would literally email back months later saying, oh, sorry, we couldn't proceed you in their application or something. But IBM was always on top of it. and they had a specific person to contact as well for apprenticeships, which I really liked. So after the assessment centre, so we put into a matching pool, and in the matching pool, so like if someone liked your profile or like your personal statement, they would arrange an interview with you. So for my interview, so I got offered one interview for my role, so I took that. It was a one-to-one meeting, and it was just a quick presentation about what you have done or what you would like to do. And after that, I think about a week later, I got my offer and I secured it. So that was how I got my offer. And I got my offer around April. And originally I was going to start in July. Originally I was going to start in September, but the fact that I already did my A-levels, I decided to start in July. And I also liked how I started in July because there was less of us in July that started, whereas in September the whole new cohort came and there were way more people. So I started in July. We had a 4-week induction, so that was quite fun. So it was mainly virtual, but we got to know the people and our cohort as well. And our induction happened about 3 months ago, but all the cohort people, we're still in contact with them. So like today as well. So like if we see anyone, we like go out for lunch or something. So we're still tight. And we had an onboarding. So after our 4 weeks of induction, which was quite fun, we had an onboarding day. So where we just got to, all our cohort that could come together, we just got together and we met all the managers and everything, and like just got insight of the whole program. And that was quite fun because it was we tried to do it in person as well. And so after that, after the whole month of induction, in August I joined the customer success team. So in customer success, it's about building long-term relationships with the clients, and I've been allocated about 3 buddies as well in customer success. So they're quite helpful as well. So if I don't understand anything, I can literally go to them. And I like the whole environment here because you don't feel like you can't go up to someone and ask them for help. Like everyone's really friendly here, and they've really welcomed us as well. So like you have a specific manager for the early professionals, and they really take great care of us as well. And so in terms of my uni, I did my uni induction last week. That was fun as well. So that was virtual, but so for uni we have one allocated day for uni, which we will be starting from next week. But in terms of my customer success team, so right now, like I have attended client meetings, client workshops as well. So I do get an insight of what it is like, and everyone's really helpful as well. So they tried to show me everything as well. So that has been my journey of how I've joined the customer success team as a degree apprentice. I started in July, but here I am in October and I love it. And one thing I like as well, I really like coming to the office. So right now I'm in the office as well. So like if you're in the office, you get to meet new people. So technically I would say that I'm not missing out on the uni experience as well, because there are people my age as well, and we just get along and we interact as well. So, and there's loads of events as well. So like I think 2 weeks ago we had the Mid-Autumn Festival event. So technically, in my opinion, it's not missing out on the uni experience. I get the best of both worlds, the experience and the uni life. So I'm quite happy with it. And Grace, she's been here a year longer than me, so she'll have more experience and more things to talk about.
Thank you. Oh, brilliant. So hi, I'm Grace. I'm a second-year degree apprentice here at IBM. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of different travels this year, one with the company in particular. I'm on the DTSB course at the New College of Humanities in London. What else? And I'm a technology engineer within our client engineering team. So I had a similar application process to Shrishti. I went through all that process. So in 2020, I realised I was in my year 12, in the middle of my A-levels. I decided I didn't want to go to university, so I decided to apply for some degree apprenticeships. In 2021, I got accepted for the DTSB course, degree apprenticeship at IBM, and I started working as a technology engineer. I went in to do my induction and I got stuck in with my role, which I absolutely adored and loved every minute of it. I've had lots of different experiences over the past year. So in April time, I was really fortunate enough to go along to some Ocado Awards evenings. my manager had a spare ticket and asked if I'd like to come, so of course I said yes to that. I also got involved in our my heating hackathon, which is run by our kind of we have a group at work that do hackathons every year, which is really cool. And then in July time, within my team, I found out that they were running a trip to Prague on a particular cloud pack that we work with. And I said, oh, could I go along to learn more about it? And my manager was like, yep, of course, but it's in Prague. And I was like, darn it. So I got a lovely trip to Prague, which was amazing. And I learned so much. And I met so many like different people, which was super awesome, of which some I'm still in contact with to today. In terms of like the uni lifestyle and uni work, I study 1 day a week on a Friday. So I have an 80-20 split, and that's 20%, that Friday is at my 20% that's dedicated just for university. And I think that's about it. And I just had my year 2 induction this week, so I'm going into year 2, and yeah, back to you, John. Sorry, I didn't want to go too quick.
No worries. Thank you very much, Grace and Shristi. So application process, I know there's usually quite a lot of questions around kind of what's involved in this. So it's fairly common with other application processes, I think. So first of all, there's a basic online application or CV upload. And actually, if you go to the IBM Careers website, it's got further information, some of the information I've shared today, but it asks you for information, just some personal information and eligibility. You can express an interest, and that would be my main recommendation, actually, which is, I know there's a lot of questions around when applications open, and they don't necessarily always open at one point in the year or at the same kind of times in the year. It's really, some of it is driven by demand in the business, and when we have demand, that will drive our recruitment processes in an agile way. The best thing I can say to you is go to the IBM Careers website, which is here at the bottom of this slide, and you can just express your interest. What it does, it asks for your name and your email address, and then what happens is, when any of these schemes, you'll select what scheme you're interested in, and as soon as that becomes available to apply, you will receive an email. So you don't have to keep checking back. You'll actually be notified when that happens. So that would be a suggestion that I would give to you. So if you express your interest online, might ask you for a CV upload and some basic information. If you get through then to the next stage, if it opens and you want to go further, there is an online assessment, which is a kind of cognitive aptitude test, which are fairly common with most organizations. And there is the ability to go through some tests around that. And then post that, there's a more detailed application form that you're asked to complete. So this is where we'll ask for a little bit. If you've got any experience, we'll ask for that experience. And there'll be some questions asking you for some examples around some competencies that we look for. So that could be things like, examples of where you've shown team working, or examples of where you've shown adaptability, things like that. And then post that step in the application process, we have something that's called an exploration session. Sometimes this is called like an assessment center in other organizations, but we treat it as an exploration session rather than assessment. So these are all done remotely now, so no need for you to actually travel to an IBM site and incur expense or lose any time in doing that. And they're working very well, being delivered remotely. So typically that will involve doing a couple of activities in groups. We'll ask you to pre-prepare a presentation and ask you to present that around some of the competencies, and a kind of interview kind of conversation with usually one of the early professional managers. As I say, these are all done online, but all applicants will be fully briefed in quite a lot of detail in advance of those sessions. And then if you're successful through that exploration session, we go through into something which is called matching. So that's to make sure that based on your preferences and kind of what we've learned from talking to you and what you want to do, we'll make sure that we match you to the most relevant role. So it's a good fit in terms of the role for you and you for the role as well there. I think we've just potentially lost the slides there from what I can see. So if we can advance that back to the end.
John, sorry, Teams has just kicked the slides out. I'm trying to put it back on, but we might need to work without the slides for.
Yeah, it's
for
fine.
now.
I only had a couple of slides left anyway, and I think we'd got through most of it. And we can move on to questions. But what do we look for was the second but last slide. And as I said again, we're not looking for people that necessarily have. Well, we're not looking for people that have work experience. We're not looking for people that already have necessarily expertise in technology or business. The whole purpose of coming into an organization such as IBM and starting an apprenticeship is that you're here to learn, you're here to grow, and you're here to develop. What we do actually look for are some of the things that I covered earlier, which is curiosity, a willingness to learn. We're very much focused on having a growth mindset and actually looking for opportunities and showing initiative in terms of building those. So again, I don't want anybody to be thinking, I don't feel like I have perhaps technical expertise, or I don't have the skills that IBM are looking for, because we're looking for people to come in that actually have fresh ideas, have diverse thought and new ways of doing things as well. So with that said, ultimately, we want you to be you. Okay, so as I said earlier, we value different experiences. We value different perspectives and ways of thinking. So we want you to be yourself at IBM. You'll have many opportunities to grow and develop. Sometimes that means trying new things and going out of your comfort zone and showing a growth mindset. But that's very much encouraged at IBM. We're always all encouraged to do that and grow and develop from there. And whatever you choose to do at IBM, we really just ask that IBMers bring their best and most authentic selves to work, because that's where you can bring your best self to work, okay, when you're yourself and you're authentic. So if you're interested, and if you're working on your application and reflecting on what you can bring to IBM, ask yourself, what do you bring to IBM individually that no one else possibly can? Okay, so don't worry about fitting into a mold of what other people can do. Think about what you can bring to IBM. Okay, so with that said, we hope that this has been interesting and useful for you. We really do want to learn more about you, so please do go and register your interest and apply. We want to learn more about you because there is no other you, and we're looking for IBMers, people that want to be IBMers and show that curiosity. Okay, so that was the end of the presentation. So Mitesh, I think we've got a good amount of time for some questions that have come through. So do you want to have a
so
answer some of those?
Sorry about the technical issues, guys, and thank you, John, thank you, Christy, and thank you, Grace, for the words of advice and your stories. We've got some questions that were sent to us previously, so we're going to start off with those. But if anyone else has any questions, if you could just ask them in the chat, that'd be great. And we'll try and do our best to answer as many as we possibly can. So I'm just going to go to the questions that we've had. So one of the questions, so John, you mentioned, and it's actually Grace, I think you mentioned, was it like one day study, 4 days work? One of the questions was, is remote working an option? So do you guys do any remote working?
Or is that for me to answer?
Do you want to share your experience, Grace, of how?
Yeah, sure. So I work out of the London office. I work in there sometimes 2-3 times a week, but I do have the option to work from home if I want to all the time. And my university is also based online, and we go into university once a week every year. So yeah, most of my work is online, but I do have the option to go into the office and go to the university on my study days if I want to. Or if I'm asked to.
Thank you, Grace. Tristan, is your experience the same?
Yeah, mine's pretty much the same.
So what I would add to that is, I think we're in a hybrid world of working. So there is the flexibility to be, both remote at times, but also in the office. I think if you're at the beginning of your career, I think it's encouraged to be in the office, because that's where you grow your network and you learn by osmosis by being in the office and learning from those more experienced professionals. But also that social aspect as well, right? So we do encourage that, but there is generally a fairly open, flexible kind of hybrid mix of remote and face-to-face working, I would say.
So one of the questions we've had sort of a couple of times is which universities does IBM work with? And I noticed Shristi put Northeastern University, which is a US university, on her timeline. So are you working with both American universities as well for your degree, your apprenticeship programs rather?
So in terms of, so let me answer the question around, because I think there's a few questions in the chat around which universities, which is obviously people are very interested in that. So the universities we're currently working with, so in terms of a sort of London-based university, we are working with a campus from Northeastern University. So Northeastern University is an interesting one, and it's quite a new partnership, but very successful so far. So this is a university that was born out of Boston, Massachusetts in the US. They partnered with the College of Humanities campus in London. So Northeastern University, which is based in St Catherine's Dock in London, very nice premises. That is a London-based university that we are working with to offer the digital and technology solutions degree apprenticeship predominantly. That's where we've seen a lot of demand coming into that. So that's sort of a London-based university that we're working predominantly with at the moment for the digital and technology solutions. We also work with Exeter University, also in digital and technology solutions. We do work with them. So again, that's been a long partnership that we've had. So that caters for people that perhaps are not London-based. We also partner with Manchester Metropolitan University. Again, very successful partnership with those for people that are perhaps based a little bit further north. We have had partnerships in the past with the Uni of Winchester and the University of Kent, which actually have got a campus in London as well. Actually, we're not currently taking new applicants into those at this moment in time, but we do have a bit of a spread. And as I say, we manage those relationships very closely. They work very well. That's not to say if you're not based in any of those locations. So again, let's say you're based in Derby, Yorkshire, somewhere like that in the north, then we do have people in those locations. We have apprentices living in those places that are attending typically Manchester Met. We have people that might be based in the east of the country that might be attending Northeastern. So, and typically any travel that you need to go to university as and when, that will be reimbursable typically if it's not your base location.
Thank you. One question I think you might have actually answered during your presentation, but it gets asked a lot, especially more widely. You know, what would you say the advantages are of an apprenticeship over going to university and getting a degree first?
I'll go first, but I'll pass on to Grace and Shristi afterwards as they've made the decision. I think what I hear a lot from people that come on to do a degree apprenticeship is, and apprentices in general actually, which is the theoretical aspects which you gain from the academic side of university in your course, being able to make that very direct correlation from what you're learning and how it applies in a business environment, and being able to apply those skills then there, literally the following week or the following weeks. And actually that close connection between learning and applying and doing that in a real life kind of situation, I think is one of the main benefits. Because again, when I've managed people that have come into IBM on a university placement program, they've said actually that's been amazing when they've done that year in industry, because they've spent 2 years learning a lot of theory and not necessarily seeing, how does that actually work in business? So I'd say I'd kind of lead with that. And that's before we even get into the whole financial kind of aspect of it, I suppose, that you're earning money, you're learning, and you're having your degree qualification paid for as well. But Grace and Shristi, I don't know if you've got anything else to add there.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, John. Absolutely. I'm definitely more someone who likes to apply my knowledge, and kind of the university experience didn't really appeal to me. So I liked the idea of going into uni, learning, and then applying that to my workplace. And also if I got stuck on something or I didn't understand something at university, I have the option to ask my colleagues and my peers who've also been through that. and they can give me an answer, and then they can explain to me how that fits into work or something, which, yeah, I prefer that more hands-on method. Shrishti?
Yeah, I also prefer the hands-on method as well, and I also always like to constantly do something as well. So uni life, after looking at my friends' timetables, I realized they only had like 2-hour lecture, 3-hour lectures, and their timetables weren't as filled. Whereas I always like to keep myself busy, so I was like, this is more of my thing. So that's why I picked a degree apprenticeship over the normal uni degree as well.
John, this one's probably, thank you guys. This one's probably for you. There's a lot of questions about what apprenticeships you offer. I know there's a whole slide on it, and everyone on this call will share that information with you via email or something afterwards. But could you just do a quick recap on the different types of apprenticeship that you offer, just for people?
Yeah, so as I say, we've got a mix of level 4 and level 6. So level 4 is your kind of intermediate level apprenticeships, and then level 6 is obviously the degree side of things. So a level 4 perspective, and a kind of business related apprenticeship, we've got the junior management consultant apprenticeship, which is extremely popular. So we've just hired, for example, 21 apprentices onto that in September. So that's quite a broad business related apprenticeship at level 4. So we're looking for people that have perhaps completed their A levels. Typically that's generally who we see coming in to complete that. It's a 2-year apprenticeship. You remain in the early professional program for 3 years, because we give you an extra year of coaching. So again, I think we've probably had up to now, we've had about 70 people complete that apprenticeship. We deliver that, IBM as the employer and the training provider. We're Ofsted outstanding for that particular apprenticeship. And out of the 70 people that have been through that and completed it, I think we've had about 65 distinctions. So that's incredibly successful. On the technical side, still at level 4, we've got a junior DevOps engineer, we've got a test engineer, and we've got a software developer. So again, some slightly different disciplines on the technical side of things. Again, the apprenticeship is delivered by training providers that we actually partner with. So Firebrand is one training provider we partner with, and GKA is another training provider we partner with. Again, IBM managed that whole relationship. So you just apply to IBM, you apply to the role, choose the apprenticeship you want to do. And again, on any of these, no prior kind of work experience or knowledge on any of these areas required. And then the degree apprenticeship, which is the level 6, we've got digital and technology, which Grace and Shrishti are doing. So that's level 6. So that's again a little bit more obviously technical. You get to choose a specialism typically in that as you go through that apprenticeship, whether it be cybersecurity or coding, whatever it might be. There's a range of specialisms that you can actually choose to then specialize in that as you advance on that. The other level 6, more business orientated degree apprenticeship is the Chartered Business Management degree. So again, it's kind of like an extension of management consultancy, but there's things like leadership in there. So you become a chartered manager through the Chartered Management Institute as part of that degree apprenticeship as well. And then we do have probably a smaller number of design degree apprenticeships available. So we do have quite a large design business as part of IBM, which not everybody may know. So again, that's clearly specialised a little bit more in design. So that's at the level 6. So that's the range that we have. I think there's sufficient breadth in those as well as specialism as you get further down them. So they're the ones that we're offering, because the reason we offer those is because they fit with the demand of the business and the roles that we have in IBM. So for example, if you're looking to do a law degree, we don't have any roles really in IBM, or there's very few roles. We don't have sufficient demand in terms of roles in law where you can do your apprenticeship and be able to apply that in work. So the reason we've chosen those apprenticeships is because that is the demand of the skills in the IBM business.
Thank you, John. Just one more for you. There's been a couple of questions about how you support disabled people. Jake, who's a wheelchair user, was one of the people asking that question. Are you able to just share any light on that? Yeah, absolutely. So I probably can't share any details, but actually we're fully kind of accessible. We're very proud actually of the diversity that we have, as I said, and that's diverse abilities. Lots of support for employees with diverse abilities.
We have a whole community as part of our early professional program, which focuses on people with diverse abilities, which can be absolutely anything, right? From dyslexia to, you know, wheelchair user and everything else. So very supportive of that. There is actually, I think, a process as part of the application to obviously declare that, and we can obviously consider that in terms of mobility and things like that as well. But all sites are set up for mobility, and you know, we're very happy. We want people that want, as I say, we want people that want to learn and are curious and want to grow, and we really look for you know, diversity and inclusivity is extremely important to us.
So I'm going to do the last question, and this one's for Grace and Tristy. If you were to say 2 bits of advice, and well, 2 things that you really enjoy about what you do, or like, and 2 bits of advice to the people listening, what would you say? Just 4 bullet points each.
Okay, 2 bits of advice. Or 2 things I like. I love the company and I love the people, and that's probably why I love the company. And I love what I do. 2 bits of advice. If you definitely want to go down the degree apprenticeship route, research it, apply for as many as possible, apply for IBM. But yeah, just keep persevering with it. You will probably get rejections, but rejections make you a lot stronger and make you more persevered to apply for more, and you will get something eventually. Yeah, that's my advice. Hope that's okay.
That's great, thank you.
So for me, 2 things that I love the company, and I love coming to the office and just getting to know people and interacting with people and just working with them. And 2 advice that I would give is that do a lot of networking as well, getting to know people, and just apply for as many degree apprenticeships as you can, as like Grace said. And I would say that if you would like experience and the uni degree at the same time, that the degree apprenticeships are an amazing scheme.
Thank you, guys. It's 7:30, and I know we've taken a lot of your evening. Thank you to IBM for showing up at this time and working late. John, do you have anything else to add?
The only thing I would add, Mitesh, because there's a few questions around, just picking up a few questions around location. So yeah. What I would say is we have apprentices living from Cornwall to the Lake District and everywhere in between. Okay, so we're not driven by office location or your location. If you want to work for IBM and display the behaviours that we're looking for, which I've covered today, apply. Okay, don't worry about being in London or Manchester or anywhere else. What we will say is sometimes there might be the need to travel to somewhere for a workshop or something. So you need to be kind of adaptable and flexible in that way. But there's a lot of questions around, do you offer kind of roles here or apprenticeships here? We operate in 170 countries as an organisation. Okay, we operate everywhere. So irrespective of where you live, if you feel like IBM's the right place for you and you want to apply, I would say do not let location prevent you from doing so.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, John, Tristy, and Grace. Very, very informative presentation and experiences. We've got a few more of these webinars, but this one's going to get recorded. So if you missed anything, we'll put it on our YouTube channel, and we'll follow up with an email so you've got some more information. We missed the contact details slide for IBM, so we'll send that over to you, so you've got it all if you need to ask them any questions and follow their social media, etc.
Great.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.